Lego fans, and welcome back to MB Bricks. My name is Maya, and today I am back with a brand new parts tour, collection tour, how I sort and organize my Lego. It's been 3 years since I've done one of these videos, so I decided it was time for an update, and there are a lot of changes that I have made in the last 3 years to my part sorting, and I am very excited to share those with you today. I've added quite a few more towers and reorganized, and of course we've gotten a lot of new molds and elements from Lego, so that's always leading to a lot of resorting. And right off the bat, one of the biggest changes that I have made is actually using large bins under the table to organize all of my bricks. So my 1x bricks and my 2x bricks by color. I am going to try and pull these out for you. I have 4 bins all together, sorted by color. So here you can see we've got the grays and browns, we've got dark tan, regular tan, brown under there, medium nougat, there's some dark orange hiding, light nougat, and then the light and dark gray. The bin underneath is strictly white and black brick, and then you'll see how easy it is to see under here, but we've got cool colors on top, greens, purples, and blues, and then underneath the warmer colors, the yellows, reds, pinks, oranges, that sort of thing. Now I did have all of these bricks sorted into the towers, and of course, as you can see, they do take up quite a bit of space. These bins are very heavy, so I try not to use bricks too much in my builds anyways. I use them a lot for support. Yeah, now I'm almost a little bit out of breath pulling those in and out, but normally I use 2 hands, so one hand's on the camera right now. So that is a quick view of how I do my bricks, just in bags and sorted by each color and size. Moving along, this is where my bricks used to be, and I've just basically moved all of the towers over to make way for new parts. So we're going to start here. Now we've got all of our 2x plates sorted by color, and they're all bagged in these smaller sandwich baggies. If I have more than what fits in these baggies, then it gets put into my overflow. These are the 2x3s, 2x4s. As you can see, I've got all the different colors sorted out into their own bags. And we just continue down. 2x6, 2x8, 2x10, we're getting a little bit less here, 2x12, and finally we've got 2x14 in this little tray here because I don't have that many, and 2x16s kind of hanging out around. So those are all of my 2x plates. Then we get into our 1x plates, and so these are organized a little bit by color here, as you can see, and then I've got these double high plates. Blocks, I think they're called. I don't know if that term has taken yet, but that's what I think they're called. And then we get into our 1x2s. Now I do use these colors a lot, so I have kind of organized them separately like that. And then we've got all of our other 1x's organized by color, again in these little Ziploc baggies to make it easy to find. And then we get into some corner plates, the 1x3s, all kind of organized the same ways. We got the grays, black and whites, primary colors, and other colors. So a lot of my collection is either sorted by that or by the grays, blacks and whites, browns, and warm and cool colors, depending on how much of each color I have. So then we continue down. We have 1x4 plates, 1x6 plates, 1x8 plates. These haven't been sorted by color just yet, but they're easy enough to find. And then we've got 1x10 plates, and then these colors have just been sorted out. And then 1x12 plates all mixed together. Then we're getting into wedge plates, and then we've got the 45-degree angle ones, and then lefts and rights split up accordingly, the smallest ones, and then we start to get bigger and some of the newer ones, and bigger still. And finally, some of the biggest ones. The absolute biggest ones are here, again, left and right, and then we've got these on top. Some of the newer ones, again, if I get newer parts that I don't have a spot for, which happens all the time, they usually get bagged until I have enough of them. And as you can see, there are all kinds of sizes here, but for the most part, these are fairly easy to find because they are such big pieces, which is nice. And then we start getting into our larger plates. Now these are all 3x3 all the way up to 16x16. And these are sorted by color because I usually use these for landscaping purposes. And so we have white. Some of these are getting quite full and we'll need to go into overflow. Light bluish gray, and you can see I've got stacks of the 8x16 plates there for castle building. Dark bluish gray, black, regular tan, dark tan, and reddish brown. Now I have a second tower of the same. These are other earthy tones. So we've got a lot of dark brown and then some medium nougat and dark orange in there. Some different greens, olive green, sand green, lime green, regular green, bright light green, which is very bright, dark green, which is a color I like to use a lot, but I definitely need to get some more because that bin's not very full. But when I put them into a big bin, I clearly thought I was getting more. I still haven't filled it up yet. We've got regular blue, other shades of blue, bright light blue, dark turquoise, dark blue, dark azure. Here we got all of our medium azure plates. That collection's growing quite a bit. And we've got pinks and purples, medium lavender, bright pink, dark magenta, all those different types there. And then in the very bottom, yellows, oranges, and reds. All sizes, all shades. Sand red, that's rare. And that almost does it for our plates, but we still have some rounded plates to go through. So we have the smaller sizes, 2x2, and then 4x4 rounded plates, and then these newer half curves. And then we got two different sizes of quarter curve plates, and then larger sizes still, the half rounds and the 6x6s. And we've also got this newer bag of 2x2 quarter rounds, which eventually they'll probably be on a tray similar to this over here. But I don't have a lot right now. They're new molds, so they're just on the side for now. And then these are the biggest curved plates. There's kind of some interesting sizes. I believe those are 8x8, half rounds, quarter rounds. So we do have quite a selection in there, but same as the wedge plates up there, these are easy enough to find and look through, and I actually don't use them all that often, so I just kind of keep them all together. And the last few we've got here are 1x curve plates, and then I've stuck these in there because they were fairly similar. And then these are not all curved plates, but they are more wedge plates, unique plates, plates with holes in the middle, L-shaped, and even heart-shaped. So there is a lot of different types of plates in here. I don't have a lot of these, but I did want to just kind of separate them all and keep them in one spot. So they're all bagged for easy finding. Then we get into some of the bricks. So we have the smaller curves, the larger curves, and then these are actually newer middle-sized curves. So not sure what I'm going to do with that. I'll have to adjust, maybe put 3 rows in here just to allow them all to fit. And then the last few pieces are just some more rounded objects, like these dishes. Well, I started off as dishes, and now I've got some different shapes in there. And so there's quite a variety, but they're all very similar, so I figured they could all go together in that bin. I might sort them out at some point. And then we've got some more rounded elements in here, robot heads, these dome type pieces, minifigure heads that don't have minifigure face printing on them, and then some rounded Technic holes. And then we, of course, need to finish off with the 2x2 rounded bricks. So we have the clear bricks here with the little notches in them. And then here's just all of the plain ones, again sorted by color. And then these are all the colors I don't have a lot of, so they all get put into one bag, but for the most part, sorted by color, so it's easy to grab and build. And then this very last bin here has the largest rounded bricks, the 4x4 round and 4x4 curved, and then there's even these 4x8 half rounded bricks. So don't use those a whole lot, but those are all sorted out for that. Now I did kind of lie, because we do have some more plates to go through, but I've sorted these plates out by color because I use them a lot for landscaping, and this is very different than how a lot of other people sort their collections, but it works really well for me, so that's why I've done it this way. So we've got all of our dark green here, sorted by size. And then most of my landscaping plates do have 2 drawers. Most of them are sorted 1x and then 2x. This one, bright light green, doesn't have as much, so I sorted that between that drawer and this drawer, which also shares with the olive green because I have about the same amount of those plates. So it does depend on how much I have of each color. Sand green gets its own bin, but just one. Then we're moving into the earthy tones. So we've got dark brown, the regular brown again, but the 2 wide plates, dark tan again, regular tan, and regular tan again. Now these definitely have a lot of parts that do not fit into those little containers, so those all get put into the overflow bins. And then I did have these separated out. These are all kind of the wedge plates, just to kind of experiment with for landscaping purposes. I don't use them a whole lot, but when I do, it's very convenient to kind of have that all separate. So I do have those plates separated out, and then I actually have one more drawer up here with my medium nougat and dark orange plates as well, kind of mixed together because I don't have as many of those, but they're really fun to use for some different coloring for your landscaping. Now moving along, I do have some more bins sorted by color, which is not my preferred method of sorting, but it just is convenient for me. For example, when I'm making trees, I have all of my reddish brown slopes, reverse and regular, and same with the dark brown for tree making. And then I've just got my tans separated out here for mountains and stuff like that as well. And surprisingly, these are easy enough to find because they're all very, very similar with the curves and such. So, and they're blocky. They're not like I'm hiding small cheese wedges or anything in there that I really have to dig for. So it's easy enough to kind of dig through, which is nice. Then we get into more of the rock work. So I have the grays. These are all reverse slopes separated by size. And then here's my big bin, big bag of dark bluish gray slopes, all sizes, sorted out by size and shape. These do not, almost don't fit in here. Got to make it work. It's almost time to start using overflow bins for those, but they surprisingly all still fit in there right now. Usually I have a ton of projects on the go, which I like doing rock work for, so those kind of empty out a bit, which is helpful, but when it's all filled up, yes, it fills it up. I do have to sort these ones out, but these are the reverse slopes, and you can see some 3 high ones and some corner ones. Kind of separated out into bags because these are actually really hard to find because of the 2x2 regular reverse. So those are separated out, and then we've got the regular light bluish gray slopes as well for rock work. And then I do have a couple of bricks, brick colors separated out from the big bins. The light bluish gray, dark bluish gray. Now these I use a lot for either rock work or building castles and stuff, so that's why I have separated them out. These I've actually sorted to the right size. This still needs to be done, but that's going to be a huge project because it is a lot. But it is difficult because when you get the smaller 1x1s and 1x2s that float down to the bottom, you really have to dig for them. So I do like having them all organized like this. That will come. That will come. And then in the very bottom here, we've got reddish brown, and there's not a lot, but I do have dark brown as well. And do have some more reddish brown in there, but yeah, those are separated out with the broken door, because you know that was just fitting that the brittle brown ended up having the door that broke. So I thought that was comical and kept that. Moving along, we are at the next set of parts, and I do have the 45-degree angle black slopes sorted out because I actually used to use them a lot for roofs and stuff, which I don't as much anymore, but I had them separated out, and I don't know, just still have them that way. Just in case, I guess, if I do more roofs the old way again. So I did have those separated out for a purpose. And then we start getting into some of the 1x slopes, sorted out by colors. It's very pretty. 1x3 and 1x4. These aren't separated out by color. Sand purple. That's rare. But those pieces always catch my eye. I don't know. But yeah, those aren't separated out by color, but that's something that I might do in the future. And then we've got some other sizes. So 1x2x2 and 1x2x3 of the slopes. And then we get into the 2 wide, sorted by color. And then we get into the larger 2x slopes as well, and then these are the ones that are a little bit different. They've got the corner few different ones in there. And then as we get down to the lower levels, we get the wider slopes, so the 3 long and 4 long, double wide. There's 2 different parts in here, the 2x3 and 2x4, all mixed together. And then we've got the 3x4, and then all the ones that kind of go with it, so the double convex and double concave ones. And then I think there are, yeah, 3x3 as well, which is interesting. Oh, and these corner ones. See, sometimes I don't even know what's in all my bins until I start looking. And then we've got the largest slopes, I think, in my collection. So there's some different random ones in the back, some older styles, that sort of thing. And then we've got a mix here of some older and newer style slope pieces, including these fun ones with the little curve up at the end. These kind of all go together, so I've kept them there. And now we're heading into reverse slopes. So we've got the smallest ones here, 1x2, and these are separated out by color. We've got some unique ones here, some double reverse, and some corner reverse, and the 3 high ones. And then we've got a mix here of the, or sorry, no, not a mix, just the one. Mix of colors, I guess, of the 2x2, and in the very bottom, 2x3 and 1x3. All mixed together, easy enough to find the colors, which is why I prefer to sort by piece type rather than color. It's easier to find a specific color rather than a shape of all the same colors. The next 2 rows over, or at least row and a half, has curves in them. And so I'm actually going to bring over my trusty chair. Hopefully it doesn't make too much noise. And I'm going to show you some of the smaller curves here, because I've got some bins to take out. So we've got the grays and blacks in the top bin, and whites. Now all these are sorted by size and the little grooves there, and then we've got white as well on the bottom. These are all of the absolute smallest curves that I have, and these are all the original basic shapes, and I've kind of got them in the order of the rainbow there as best as possible. They are coming out with new shapes and molds all the time. There's the browns in the bottom, so it does make it difficult to keep up with all of the variations, but we fit them in as best as we can. And then we've got some blues. I just had the blue out. I am using a lot of blue for my current project. We've got the different shades of purple. Now some of these we don't have a lot of the different shades and colors. This one really has a variety. We've got the new reddish orange, dark teal, light aqua, that neon yellow. So that's where pieces go when I don't have a lot of that particular color. And then we've got some greens, a variety of different greens. Those get to go in there. And then following that up, we have some of the regular green and some more unique blues. And I do think these got a little bit mixed up because I think the greens and blues are supposed to be in there, but that's okay. Easy enough to fix. We've got some of the different pinks and the new coral color. So those are just the absolute smallest curves that I have. And then as I move down, I start getting into some of the bigger curves. We can see the 1x2 here and the 1x4. And then they've even gotten some of these newer rounded on two sides, and then the singles in the corners. And so I've just tried to really adjust the curves a lot for this video since the last one, just because they do actually come out with new molds. We got wedge curves. I always try to keep my lefts and rights separate for the wedge curves, just because they are really hard to distinguish. So I do try to keep those fairly separate. We start getting into some of the bigger curves down here, and you can see I've gotten a couple of different sizes, for example, of these parts that are basically the same 3x3 and 4x4. And then I've got a couple of the same in this space here, just because they're all fairly new and I don't have spots for all of them. But luckily with this reorganization, I have gotten to get some extra space for reorganizing as well. So that's always a great thing. We got some larger curves and then some more large curved curves of different sizes. They come out with so many different shapes, which is great for being creative and getting the size that you need. Harder to sort. And there we go. We've got an extra empty bin at the bottom, which is great. So some of the ones that I don't use a whole often, like this tray, I might kind of start sorting into bags just to make it a little bit more make more sense for the way that I do my sorting. Up here we've got some of the wedge curves again, left and right. We've got the smallest ones here, and then some of the newer big ones. These two have a mix because I only have a couple of each. And then these trays are fairly new. Some of the newer curved parts. And then these I would consider to be curves, but some older styles, some with some studs on top. So those all kind of got put together. And then more of these bricks with curves. So we got studs on the top, and then we got some curves as well. So those all kind of went together. That made sense to me. And then these, I don't even have little trays for them yet. These are just a handful of parts that I got that are fairly new. They are kind of similar, so these just kind of got placed in here to say I would like to expand that. And then another empty drawer, which is just great because, like I said, the curves are one piece that I find are coming out with a ton of new molds, which is always great. This bin here is kind of a mess. It's all of my large curved pieces. Some I have a lot of, and I bag them up. So if you need any large curved pieces, kind of go through this bin because it's a lot going on in there. Below that, we start getting into our reverse curves. So we've got the 2x2. I think there's 3 different styles of 2x2 reverse curves in there, sorted by color. And we've got 1x4s and 1x2s on the bottom there, also sorted by color, which is always nice and easy to find your parts. And then we have our larger reverse curves that I typically don't use these very often, although now that I'm getting into more sculpting, I have been finding that these parts are very useful. So I might have to reorganize this a little bit, but we shall see, because right now it's still, I think these are the smallest parts that are in this bin, so it is fairly easy to kind of root around in there and find what you're looking for. And then to finish off this tower, we just have a couple of more curved type parts. So I've just got my cones, my 1x1 cones, separated out by color. And then we have the pretty translucent ones and glitter and opaque satin trans colors all on the bottom bin there. And then at the very bottom are all of the absolute largest cone type pieces. And these are the smallest ones we have in this bin, and they definitely grow by size, which is great. Off to the side here, you can see I have stored my 48 by 48 base plates. They just kind of fit. They do rub on these two drawers, but fortunately I don't go into these two drawers an awful lot, so that's all right. And then I do have a bunch of 32 by 32 plates, base plates, and I even have some old road plates in there as well. So most of them are plain, and you can see the different colors that I've got, but then I do have some that are decorated as well. I think, oh yeah, there's like this sand one in there as well, which is kind of cool. We don't really make those anymore, but that's okay. Let's move on to the next row here, because I'm gonna move this chair. We have just finished this whole row here, but we still have this whole row and a few towers over there. So hope you're comfortable, because this might be a long video. We're getting into some arches, and so I just have the smallest arches here, some newer style. These are taking up a lot of space, so these might be sorted out into their own bin at some point, but for now they fit in there. And then we've got some smaller arches, and then finally 1x2 reverse arches, which are the smallest. And the containers that I'm using are Duramax containers. I just got them at our local Dollarama, and they have curved bottoms, which is really helpful for small parts because it just makes it easy to kind of scoop them out, which is great. They're found in the hardware section, so if you are interested in getting any of these bins for sorting, you can get up to 16 spots with the little inserts, or you could go 6 big ones, 6 big spots, so very, very convenient. These are all bagged by color, and we've got this size. Some I don't have a lot of, some I have quite a few. So those sizes are sorted out, and then we've got the larger sizes, including these reverse slopes, which I don't have a lot of, but you can see the different sizes here. And I have a lot in brown because I use them for my two trees. It's great. Moving along, we've got more arches, the 1x3s and 1x4s, as well as the 2 high variety, sorted by color. Some of the colors have 2 in them, and then this bag here has all the random colors that I don't have a lot of all put together. Makes it a little bit easier. And then we've got the 1x6s. We've got 2 high as well as the 1 high 1x6 arches. And again, colors I don't have a lot of get put into a bag by themselves. Then this bin is not sorted, except for these, I suppose, but there are some more. This is just an order that I placed. Same with these. Just kind of kept them all together, but we've got 1x8s and what are these? 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. 1x12s. I I can never remember how long these ones are for some reason. But yeah, 1x8s and 1x12s. We've got some other older random large curves, but yeah, those all get kind of mixed together. And then we've got some support bricks here. That's what I call it, the 2 high or 3 high bricks in this bin. And then we've got the 5 high bricks. Most of them are this size. This one was in with the panels, but technically it's not a panel. So my 5-year-old told me I had to put it in there. So his logic makes sense, but I just wanted to show you guys that that was not a panel. Panels are over there. But let's not skip the top of the tower here. We've got our modified bricks here of the different kinds. Moving down, we've got the palisade bricks, sorted by color once again. And I try to keep to the smallest sandwich size baggies or smaller, so they don't take up too much space. Although in saying that, these are the masonry bricks, and I have so many of these in so many different colors, and I actually have 3 more pap cups full that I just got off of the wall in different colors. So yeah, and this bin is pretty full, and I do have quite a few in overflow as well. I do want to reduce the quantities in this drawer specifically down into the smaller bags, because again, it is easier that way. But yeah, I have a lot of masonry bricks. This is a fairly random drawer that needed a home, and this tower needed another small bin. So we've got some smaller random pieces that kind of make sense to go together. I mean, these are the reverse of these, so, and then these random pieces with the bar on them. I don't even use these very often, so we'll just shut that now. We've got some smaller panel pieces here. This drawer could use with a bit more sorting. I think if I used some of these types of trays, also found at the dollar store, that this would be organized much better. I don't use these a whole lot, and I think that's why I haven't really made that a priority, but there are quite a few different styles of small panel pieces in here, so that could be something that I do in the future. We've got our medium-sized panels here. I believe this is the smallest size, and then they go up to the 1x4x3. So, and then of course our tallest panels are in this drawer, and they do have some textured panels as well. And then these are our curved panels. Well, that's what I call them, curved panels. Makes sense to me. So anything curved. We also have these tree type pieces. You see them a lot in the 4+ sets to make simple, easy trees. And then we've got some of these newer parts as well. This is like a satin trans medium blue. Very cool. Very random. This shouldn't be in here. I will show you where those go. And it's not in there. I'll grab that out later. And then in the bottom drawer here, we just have more supports. This is a very random drawer. A lot of these parts are bigger. I think the smallest parts are the smaller support pieces, but they are definitely fairly random, but I feel like they can all go together. And so they do. I could sort these out into bags, but sometimes it's fun just to get your hand in and kind of move pieces around. The next tower over, we're going to start looking at tiles. And these are sorted by colors, once again, and sizes, depending on how many I have of each size. So you can see I've got 3 bins here for red, 1x2, 1x3, and 1x4. And then only one for the dark red, dark pink, and magenta, and bright pink. And then it kind of is the same going down. We've got some purples in the back, some different blues, medium, azure, regular blue, dark blue, and the greens. Some of the more unique greens I have in a bag. We start getting into the browns, and the tans are in the back as well. And then into the grays, blacks, and whites in the very back there, which I use quite a bit for my castle builds. Then we start getting into some of the longer 1x plates. So these are mixed. These are 1x6s and 1x8s. So we've got the grays and black, the browns, tans, and white. Again, all mixed 1x6 and 1x8. And then we've got other colors, which is very pretty to look at. Some of the more unique colors are mixed. Some are very full. And then we get into the 2x's. Try to bring these drawers out a little bit more. So the different colors, and then the whites and the blacks. And then this drawer here with the grays and browns once again. I do have these in larger bins just because I do use them quite a bit for medieval building. And then we get into the 2x4s. So we've got the grays, white and black, browns, and other colors. We start getting into some different types of tiles here. 2x3 is becoming more popular, and 2x6 is becoming more popular as well. So they have their own bin, but they are not sorted by color. And then we've got some translucent tiles here, and then I do have a lot of translucent blue tiles in my overflow for water, but I do have some in here just for a quick grab for a small area. Then we get some of these angle tiles. We get the corners that are cut off, these almost half diamond shaped ones that are kind of cool. These tiles that go into the corners, and then the right and left wedge tiles as well, separated out. And then we get into some of the curved tiles, the smallest, medium size, and largest for now. Curved tiles, 2x4 curved tiles, and 1x2 curved tiles. We've got some more curved tiles here, 2x2 and the 1x2 half, and then just more unique tiles that they've been coming out with. Like as I said before, they're constantly coming out with new molds. There is hearts in the back there, and then 2 spots here for even more new parts. I am ready for you, Lego. I am ready. And then here we've got some reverse tiles, which we don't have a whole lot of. We've got 1x3, these 2x2 with the almost like a curved bottom, and then some in clear, and then the 2x2 reverse tiles, which I don't use a whole lot of, but it's interesting to see. And we have an empty drawer, kind of. My son must have put that in there. He likes making little snowflakes, even though it's summer, and hiding them. So that's fun. But that is actually awesome to have an extra drawer in this tower, because I think I want to separate these out a little bit more, just because they are getting a bit full, and I am getting some different colors. So that will be probably my next round of sorting, which sorting never ends, reorganizing never ends, but I usually try to do a big overhaul every 2 to 3 years. So it was definitely time for that. But moving along, we've got some modified tiles now, starting with 1x2 jumpers, sorted out by colors once again. The grays, blacks, and whites, browns, cool colors, light colors. Every once in a while, I find a part that's in the wrong spot, and it gets buried, and you'll never see it again. It's dark green. I'll get it after. We got 2x2 jumpers sorted the same way, and then just some more modified tiles of different, different sizes, including these brand new ones as well. Very interesting. So I do have a spot for those. These are starting to get a bit full, so they're going to have to have some taken out and put into overflow. But for now, good enough. Then I think we're almost done the modified tiles here. We've got the 2x4s and then some 2x2 round and 1x2 round, half round, with studs in the middle, or the holes for reverse building, which is pretty cool. And then these are the largest sizes of modified tiles, and they come in several different shapes. And so those are sorted out in baggies. Actually, we do have some large tiles as well. With some, these ones have printing and some don't have printing, so those needed a home. So they got put in with the other large tiles. We're actually moving on to a completely new topic of foliage and rocks. So these are my smaller rock pieces. We got some translucent ones from the new Dreams line, which is really, really cool. Smaller burp pieces, some older pieces. I'm surprised at how many translucent rock pieces I have, but yeah, they're some of them are very, very cool. Some of them are old. And then I do have these in there because I didn't have very many of them, but I do have a fairly big order coming in, so they might get a new home. But yeah, just a hodgepodge of parts in there. And we have a bin of my big ugly rock pieces. There might be some little ugly rock pieces in there as well, but I do like these for support under larger structures. So I have a lot of those. And then we get into one of my favorite parts of the collection, which is my foliage. So starting here, we've got some of the older 3-prong stock pieces with the stud connection on the bottom, which is great. We've got regular green, olive green, and dark brown. We've got some of these 3-leaf pieces in regular green and bright light green, and then a variety of these tropical pieces here in the regular green, lime green, and sand green. And then we have some more smaller foliage. I did buy a lot of these, so I just kind of have them tucked on the side for now. But we've got different vines and seaweed pieces. I bought these in bulk for a tree design, which turned out pretty good. And then this is a very random bin here of pieces that I think could be useful. Some fantasy style mushrooms. These are the newer pieces that are off the Snoopy set, and just pieces that I kind of thought would make interesting foliage. So I kind of put those in there just to have them kind of separate from the rest of my parts. It's a big old bin of bushes, preformed, which are great and easy to add. And I really like this drawer. This is, well, we've got some preformed trees in there, some things that I've built that I kind of liked the design of, so I wanted to keep together. I also have this preformed Venus fly trap, which is like kind of neat, and just some other things in there, miscellaneous. And then we've got all my different mushroom pieces, including this mushroom hat from the CMF line, and then some of the newer Dreams mushroom pieces in the back, and the older style. I'm very excited for the new mushroom botanical set that just came out. I'll probably be getting a couple of those just for some of the new mushroom prints, which I'm very, very excited. Moving along, we have some more small foliage sorted out here. The new fern pieces, which is great. And I just actually got a bag of these satin trans blue, so I think those are probably not going to fit in there, but they'll probably go in there. And then these larger flower pieces, we've got the greens and a couple of yellowish colors, and then some blues and pinks in there of the same, all sorted by color. And then we're almost into the tree making station, but we're not quite there yet. Bring over my trusty chair here, and again with the Duramax containers showing the different flowers. In the newer design, I do have a mix in there of ones I don't have a lot of, the different colors. This bin I think I'm going to sort out a little bit. I did have some egg pieces in there and the cracked shells, which are used a lot for flowers, but then we do have a bunch of these newer style flower pieces that are coming out, so I might redo that bin a little bit to accommodate. We have some of the older style flowers and really old style flowers. These ones in the middle here, you still get them occasionally, but I haven't seen these ones, and a lot of them actually I still have on the original centerpiece there, which is kind of cool. And then we have again some of the older flower pieces there, and then just some of these different styles of stock pieces. Some have 3 connections and some have 6, but they do have the bar connection on the bottom instead of the stud connection, which I'm not a fan of those as much. They are good for certain things, but I do like using the other flower stem pieces connected with the studs. But I also grew up with them, so that could be why. We're getting into some of the smaller leaf pieces. So these are all the 1x leaf pieces in the different colors. So these are all the greens. We had the blues and purples in the last bin. Getting into some warm colors with the golds and oranges and reds, all the different shades, which look so nice. And some of the other colors, including the translucent black, the regular black, and then the gunmetal gray in the corner there, and then just some of the different pinks. And every time they get new colors for these 1x1 leaf pieces, I have to buy so many, because I love them so much. But I am running out of space in these containers, so not sure what I'm gonna do after that, but I'll get creative. I always do. We've got some of the smaller leaf pieces, the 3x4 I think the size is, a big bag of the olive green, some different pinks and such, all in this drawer. I have a lot of leaves, so I have sorted out the greens, the different shades of green in this bin here. I really gotta kind of squish them down so that they fit. And then underneath are all the other colors. Fantasy purple, got some orange under there, some red, the new orange, so very, very tight squeeze in here. Sometimes it's hard to get them to all fit back in there, but it's fine. We made them fit. In this bin, we've got the sword leaf pieces or finger leaf pieces, in the different colors. And I got some dark tan back there. I'm afraid to take them out because I really got to squish them back in, and these will break fairly easily, so I don't want to squish them too much. And then in this bottom bin here, I do have some random foliage. Of course, I didn't have room up here for the olive green fingerleaf pieces. And I've started keeping together some of the flowers that I built because they do take a long time, and I have so many stem pieces, so many flower pieces, and instead of taking them together and putting them, taking them apart every time I do a mock, I thought maybe I'd keep some of them together to save myself some time. We've got these palm leaf pieces in a couple of colors, some of the coral pieces. Here's a big bag of bright green seaweed that didn't fit in the other bin. And then some of the newer style petal pieces in different colors. Oh, there's more. There's palm leaf pieces. There's just so many new leaf pieces that are coming out. So I try to order them in small quantity to kind of play around with. These newer style though, that don't have stud connection points like these ones do, I'm not as big of a fan because I feel like you can't be as creative, if that makes sense, just because there's nothing that you can really attach to them. So I haven't used them too much, but I will use them for small scenes or just to add a little bit more. And then in the very bottom here is a newer bin that I have been working on for a little bit, but this one is changing quite a bit. This is my tree trunk design bin, so I do have different colors of brown in these bins. So these are Technic pieces that I pulled out of the Technic bins. We've got some bar type pieces in here and different bar connections that are really fun to play around with. Some different animal tails of different sizes. And this is really good because I find I can really get inspired looking in these bins and seeing what pieces I want to use. And then this is very, very random, some different bar pieces and plate pieces again. And I do have a lot more of these, but these are these new Technic curved elements that I'm not really sure what they're called. I know they're considered Technic elements because they do have the axle hole in them. But yes, very fun. And that's on the bottom because it's a trunk of the tree, so it's at the bottom of the tower. Very, very clever. So yeah, that is how I sort all my foliage, which I've done a separate video on my foliage tour, but it has since been updated as well. So that is the current way of sorting. Right beside the foliage is, of course, the fauna. And right at the top here, not so much fauna, but slides needed a spot. So they ended up in this drawer next to the wings. So I have larger wings and smaller wings. And then some other miscellaneous animal pieces, such as the spider webs, different horse accessories, eggs, that sort of thing. And then we get into the small animals. So I'm just going to bring my chair over so we can take a look. These are filling up really fast, so I might have to adjust these a little bit. But we've got some different farm and zoo type animals. Really good for medieval builds, I must say. We've got aquatic and air animals with some cool new bird molds there and some old ones like Fox the Phoenix. We've got the creepy crawlies, which I love creepy crawlies. So no shade on the frogs and snakes and spiders. I've had a lot of different lizards and stuff like that as pets. We've had scorpions, so love my creepy crawlies, that's for sure. And then just some more, I guess, common animals like dogs, cats, rats, and we do have some more aquatic animals here, the dolphins, the otters, and some more of the Friends line as well. So this is more random, but it started to make sense as I was putting it together, and as I've added more and more, it started to make sense less and less, but that's okay. Always a work in progress. We've got more animals still with realistic animals, including these old cool elephants. We've got horses, we've got octopi and alligators, some of the old style and some of the new style, sharks, bag of goats. Oh yes, and this really cool giraffe. I would love to do a zoo at some point. I know that's been done quite a bit, and it's not really my style, but I love all of the I love all of the Lego animals, and I do have quite a few, and so that could be something that I do. If you guys are interested in that, do let me know, because I think it would be fun. This next bin down has all of my fantasy animals, including headless dragons, pre-molded of course, animals from different themes, including castle and Star Wars and older themes. I think this is from the Rock Raiders, my old gold and black dragon from the Orient Express line. And then we do have some newer animals as well, like the Pegasus and these newer Dreamlings, which are super fun. So anything fantasy related goes in that bin. Then we get into dinosaurs, which I do have a lot of dinosaurs because, well, you know I like dinosaurs if you've been on my channel before. So I do have them split into a few drawers just to make it a bit easier. So I have the first trilogy in this drawer, so Jurassic Park and Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. This is from the second set of movies, so Jurassic World, Dominion, and the other one. And then I've got a brand new drawer here of the Jurassic World Rebirth sets, which I'm not sure if that's going to be turned into a trilogy. I heard that it was, but we will see. But these are all the new dinosaurs that we got with that line. And then, of course, you got to keep your animals contained. So I do have all of these fences in the bottom here. So we've gone pretty far. Still have so far to go. I do enjoy watching collection videos, so I hope you guys are enjoying this as well. We do get into the minifigure collection, which is this entire row down here, and then into minifig stuff. And so I do have a separate video of my minifig stuff. Here we have some medieval style helmets and shields and stuff. This is mostly headwear, but I do have a separate video where I really dive deep into my minifig collection. So if you want to take a look at that, I am going to link a playlist of all my parts tours and room tours, so you can find all of these videos that I'm mentioning in that playlist, so I'll leave that linked below. And into accessories now, we've got buckets and bags. We've got communication devices such as telephones and walkie-talkies, and then we've got stereos, phones, briefcases, books, some older style books and newer style, and then all the flags. So we got these flags separated by color, and then we've got some smaller and clip-based flags. And then moving along, we are going to be looking at tools and weapons. So these are long-range weapons such as rifles and bows and arrows for the medieval ages. We've got some tools here, brooms, wrenches, nets, all kinds of tools, to be honest. And then we've got close range weapons. So we've got lances, spears, swords of all sizes. So you can see the variety in there. And this is a very random bin, and a lot of these are actually used to make custom tools and weapons, which is pretty cool. And then we have the stud shooters in the middle. Next down, we are getting into the food. And so we're going to start off with the fruits here. I'm really enjoying that we're getting a lot more of these different cherry pieces, but we have them sorted out, bunches of bananas, into the different types of fruit, and then kind of the same, more vegetables sorted out by color, a little extra space in there, which is great. And then we get into breads and meats. We got all the different hot dog pieces, full turkeys, and some other fun things. And then in this very bottom bin here, we've got all of our desserts. We've got scooped ice cream, soft serve, all the different cones and popsicles, and then we've got other pies and pretzels and large cake pieces, which is super fun, all sorted out in there. And then we do have one more bin of food, which is the printed. A lot of them are 1x1s or 2x2s, but then we also have some bricks and stuff. These are all cereal boxes up there, some different, I love the eggs too, the egg splats, those are fun. And so different candies and chocolates and cookies, all different types of printed food. And then of course with the food, you're gonna need to have some utensils. So we've got pots and pans, forks, knives, spoons, bowls, tea kettles, that sort of thing. Next up, we've got all different types of cups. Some of the newer cups do have the indication of liquid in them. We've got teacups, including the spare teacup from the Beauty and the Beast castle. And Chip, that's the name. And then we've got some different mugs and goblets. And of course, we have bowls and plates, somewhat separated by color. Started getting too many once again, and just kind of had to go with it. But I don't use them a whole lot. So it's when I do need to use them, it's very easy. So next drawer down is one of my favorite drawers. Has a lot of medieval style stuff in it. So we've got chains, whips, and lanterns. And this one, different fire or flame elements, including candelabras and candlesticks in here, all the different sizes and the different colors. And we got our treasure bin here with money and gold and jewels, all sorted out by type. And then this is the magic bin for some of my fantasy style builds, crystal balls, magic wands, different potion bottles, that sort of thing, which is super fun. Probably my favorite bit out of the whole minifigure line here. And this is just some more random minifigure accessories such as taps. This is the little sports bin where I have life preservers, flippers, some winter sports, that sort of thing. Here we've got some trophies on the right side, some minifigure Friends line, and mini pin accessories there. musical instruments, keys on the left side, and medical in the middle there, which they ended up finding their way to each other and being happy, so that's where they stay. And then this is just the miscellaneous bin equivalent with random stuff, smaller and larger on the right side here, and a few things that I've separated out due to having a lot of them in the miscellaneous section, including umbrellas, scissors, magnifying glasses. So very random, but you can find some cool parts in there, which is awesome. And then in the very bottom drawer here, we have containers of all kinds, rounded bins, large barrels, of course the classic treasure chest, and then some more modern style containers. These are really easy to look through and find, so I kind of just keep them all here and kind of dig through. We also have these large pots, so very cool, easy to find, and I keep them in there. Next up is our minifigure tower, which has all of our minifigure parts. So we've got some heads there on the right hand side, some different hair and beard pieces, as well as extra hands. And I've also got some fun minifigure heads, such as these monster ones, and some skeleton ones in the back. And then I do have the female and male style heads separated out as well, so they are easy to look at all the different ones that I have. Next drawer down, I have some torso pieces. If I have similar ones or same style, I will sometimes stack them together so that they are easy to find. And then I've got some skirt and leg pieces, the plain ones in the back, and then we've got some printed ones in the front. We also have short legs in with the skirt pieces. And I've got some larger miscellaneous minifigure parts, such as the umbrellas, the lamp posts, bicycles. Since bicycles are here, I've got motorcycles on the right side here. Just a big random assortment of large minifigure accessories. And then here are some of my made minifigures that are completely random in this bin, different themes, mostly I would say city style. These are also ones that I got at special events, such as Brick Rodeo in Texas with the custom hat and torso printing, some advent calendar stuff. And then in the following drawers, we have specific themed Lego figures, such as these city figures. These are all my custom figs that I made for my Jurassic World park. Some NBA players in here with the springy legs. So these are more your regular figs, I guess you could say. In here we've got some of the collection, so collectible minifigure line. We also have the newest Dreams set with some of the custom characters. But for the most part, they are collectible minifigures, extras that I've had, full sets of lines. Got the Looney Tunes line. So yeah, mostly different collectible minifigures in this drawer. This next drawer has all of my IP themed TV or movie. So we've got Jurassic Park, some of the Disney figures, Lord of the Rings that are not on display, Star Wars. And then we've got some other larger vehicles, such as the gyroscope balls, some custom cars and stuff that I've made. Stranger Things, Billy's car, that sort of thing. The Batman figs. So yeah, all of the IP themed figs are in this drawer. Down here we've got all of my medieval and castle or fantasy. These are just random village characters that I've created. Skulls and skeletons. These are the awesome Wolfpack printed stickers that I got from my friend Cassie down in Texas. She sent those up for me. The elves hair pieces. We've got some different knights that I don't have a lot of for the specific factions. We've got witches, warlocks, wizards, jesters, and some kings. And then we also have factions that I have a lot of, such as the Lion Knights or the Black Falcons. We have them separated out, and a few other random bags in there. So this is all my medieval and castle fantasy style minifigures, and in the very bottom are my Harry Potter figures. I've collected Harry Potter a lot over the years. I used to do a lot of Harry Potter marks, but I've been kind of stepping away from that. But I still have all the characters. I had so many ideas and things planned that I wanted to do, so I was collecting a lot of them over the years, but kind of stepped back from doing a lot of Harry Potter, but I still have all these figures and probably the largest collection of figures. So yeah, they get their whole entire separate drawer, and I also got some extra uniforms for all the different houses. So that's in the bottom drawer, and that is my entire drawer of minifigure parts. Next up, we are going to be looking at windows and doors. So the top drawer here has just this one size of window, and then some of them have the clear glass and some have the different inserts. Some are printed, some are not, but all the same size. And then we get into these 3 high windows in the middle here, again with different inserts. And then on the side here we do have these curved windows, and they have the same style of insert, same size anyways, as the ones above. Below that we've got curved windows. We've got a few different styles in here. The wider ones, and then I do keep all of these curved ones in here as well, even though they're a square frame. That just made sense to me that they would go together. And then these are all of the larger standard size windows, 1x4x3, and then there's a variety. Some of them are too deep as well. And then there's just a variety of different inserts, glass or lattice, some older style. There's even these bar style inserts, which is pretty cool, but all the same size, all interchangeable in there. Then we got some bigger windows of odd sizes. Some have stickers or printed. We've got some stained glass. This is from the Wednesday line. And then we've also got some interesting things from many different themes. And some angled windows. So very cool, but they are all windows. Even though they are all different sizes, they kind of hodgepodge in there. These are some older doors and windows. These are a style, I think, from late 80s into the 90s. And then these are older. We got these in a bulk buy. And, this was very fascinating to me. I think these are maybe from the 70s. Someone can maybe let me know in the comment section below if you know what era these are from. But they are very, very cool, and I think find one of the smallest ones, which I can't find offhand. They're about the size of a headlight brake, which is like super cool. But yeah, that's how windows used to be. So I kind of keep them all here. I don't use them very often, so but they're very cool. So they get to hang out here for a bit. And then these are all the standard doors. There's a few different sizes, some like pretty big preformed elements here, but for the most part they are all this standard size, which can also be interchanged into windows as well. But because they are all the standard size, I did not include them with these random sizes up here, just so they were all interchangeable. And then we've even got the newer style double doors, and we have some angled doors in there as well. Here's an example. But this is the same size, so we did include this in as well. Below that is our last drawer with doors in it, but these are all of the medieval style doors. And I needed a spot for medieval wheels, so they did find themselves a home here because they did have space. And yes, a couple different gate styles as well, but more of the medieval feel for that drawer. Below that, we do have some more castle type pieces, including some large roof pieces, and some more door frames or window frames, some preformed pieces as well. Some are quite old with some cool printing, and some are maybe not the traditional gray castle colors that you would think, but very cool pieces in here, very inspiring. I don't use them an awful lot because I do prefer to build up my castle walls a little bit uniquely each time, so I try to stay away from the preformed pieces, but very good. And my son really likes using these pieces as well, just because it's easy for him to put something together quite quickly. This is a random drawer in this tower, but we needed another small drawer to fit in this space, so this is all of our elastic bands, string pieces, and other material type elements of various sizes and from different eras, different themes, all the different rope type pieces of different lengths, and even some netting here in the front, which is quite expensive. I do have a few pieces, and then we've got some winches and stuff like that off to the left hand side. Below that, we've got staircases and ladders, all kind of mixed together in this bin here. They're big pieces, easy enough to find, so they all get put in there. And then this drawer was empty, but I do have a huge selection of burr pieces, and I didn't really have a spot to put them, so I decided to put them in here for now. As I get maybe a big bin to put them all in, I will keep them in a separate spot. They were just too big for the other drawer. I've got almost 2 drawers, and it was getting hard to close the other one, and then I acquired quite a few more. So they're there for now, always changing, and that's an okay thing. Next up is a tower of smaller pieces. Now this does definitely change quite a bit, and I think it will get an overhaul probably soon as well. But for now, in the top drawer here, I do have my cheese wedges in the 1 long and 2 long. Got the grays, blacks, whites, and purple, because purple needed a home. Random, but that's how it works. We've got the browns and tans. We've got the cool colors, and then the warm colors in there, all separated by size and color. The next bin down has 1x tiles. So we have 1x tiles, square size, And we've got 2 bins of those. That's not right. That's okay. Sometimes the tiles can squeeze into other places. 1x1 rounds. Mostly separated out. Some colors get to combine with other colors, sometimes by accident. And then, of course, we have the 1x1 quarter round tiles in all the different colors, which I don't use the quarter rounds all that often, so they end up on the bottom a lot, but that's okay. They got all sorted out anyways. Next drawer down are 1x1 studs. These are the studs that have the hole in it, and so you can see all the different colors that they come in. And then these are just the regular 1x1 studs in all the different colors. We've got the grays, blacks, whites, and golds. And then we've got more earthy tones and warm colors. And then this beautiful bin of cool colors. I really like the look of this one. Very satisfying. Moving along, we've got 1x1 cylinders. Now these are starting to get some new colors, including that brand new soft pink color and the light nougat. And then this one has all of the translucent colors and the satin colors, satin trans colors, and then some of the cool colors. And then a bag of the browns because I use brown a lot and I don't like going into overflow every time I need additional browns, so I have a bag of them on the side. Next up is a newer drawer that I've just kind of started to expand other drawers into. So we've got some rounded plates with the bar, and then some more bar elements with bar attachments inside as well. And then we've got some more rounded plates. These are the 1x2s in the different colors sorted out. I'm going to skip this one for a second. Because I also have these 1x3s and 1x4s that I've started to sort out. So those have a bin that they are starting. And then these are the bread roll pieces, the 4 long corner, 2 long, and then all the singles sorted by color, which is also quite the satisfying drawer to look at, I must say. I remember when all of my bread rolls fit into like 2 of these sections, and now I have so many more, which is so funny. This next drawer down has just a bunch of small random parts in it. This is probably the most random, but makes sense to me. This drawer has parts that I use a lot in it, especially those little mini peg pieces, some of the newer parts that I don't have a lot of in the collection I end up putting here. This row of 1x5 rounded plates still will probably get moved to another container at some point, but I had all my others, all my 1x2s and such, in the row beside it, which is very funny. And then now I've just gotten some new small pieces in those spots. Once again, more random small parts that I just kind of sorted out. And then here are some decorative pieces. This is one of my favorite drawers as well, although it could use a good overhaul as well. A lot of the flourish pieces and swirl pieces there. You've got some cattails in there. So one of my favorite bins, especially when I'm doing castle related builds. And then we've got some more bar and clip pieces in this drawer. We've got all of our robot arms sorted out by color, and then we've got some other clip pieces on that side. We've got some larger bar pieces, including these newer curved ones, and a variety of sizes and colors. Smaller bar pieces, as well as telescopes, lightsabers, and similar pieces on the side there. And then one more drawer with some more clip pieces as well. Sorted out by color, we've got two different types in there. And then in the bottom drawer, we have some more random parts. We've got some animal pieces, some tooth elements, tail elements, that sort of thing. We've also got some more tooth plates. These are the standard ones. And then we've got the special ones with the teeth curved down, the vertical teeth, and then the 3 teeth on the side there. And then this last one was kind of an expansion on the tails, and then it started into some of the elemental pieces. So this is very random, and this will probably be one of the first things I look at changing as well. But for now, it seems to fit okay. And there's a spot there, so that's where it's been hanging out. The next row over here, we start getting into some of the Snot bricks, which have also expanded into a lot of different sizes the last couple of years as well. So here we have all of the headlight bricks, which is been my favorite piece for a really long time. It's always been really helpful for Snot building and getting that half of a plate depth or a lack thereof. It's been very versatile. We now have other pieces that can do the same job for a bit easier, but it's always something that I used a lot, 10 years ago when a lot of the newer pieces just weren't available yet. The next drawer down has some of our single Snot pieces. So these are the new D-Snot with the curved back, and then we've got our Travis bricks on the side there sorted out. And then we've got our 1x in the useful colors that I like to use a lot. And then our 1x's with single Snot stud in the other colors, which, as you can clearly see, they are really starting to run out of spots for the different colors, so I might have to have another one of these. And then these are the 1x1s with 2 Snots, and we've got either corner on this side or we've got opposite sides over here. So 2 different styles in that bin, which I like using the corner ones, but the opposite side ones I don't use an awful lot. Next up, we've got the taller, 2 studs tall Snot brick, and then these are very new, but they do have a spot already with 3 sides. I'm sure we'll be getting a lot of those with the new sculpting sets. And then we've got kind of the same pieces, but 2 wide, and again 2 wide with the studs on 3 sides. Moving down, we've got the 2 wide, but 1 stud tall, 1x2s. And then we've just got some newer styles. So this isn't actually new. I guess there are the studs on both sides. These are new the last couple years. The single stud in the middle. These newer bracket pieces. And then the same but single. And then these are the same as the 1x2s, but the 2 studs high. And then this is another interesting, bit older Snot style brick, but it's just very interesting and kind of useful in its own way, so that found a spot there. This is simple 1x4 Snot bricks. And then we get into more of the brackets, and then the wider of the same. We've got the smallest brackets here, the upwards and downwards, and then the next size up, upwards and downwards as well. And then we've got wider ones with the different orientations. And then these are very similar to the brackets we saw up top, but these are only 1/2 of a plate wide instead of the full plate. Now these brackets I get so many of, and had them in overflow, and then they were kind of taking over the overflow bin that I had for my Snot bricks, so I just poured them all into 2 giant bags. I put them in here, and those will take a little bit more time to fill up, but just giving them their own space because they clearly need it. There's a lot of them. And then we get into just some more different styles, and some are, again, new molds that are coming out. I only have a couple of, but in anticipation of getting more, I did leave some spots for those. And then we've got some larger, kind of the same, kind of not, interesting parts that you don't see very often, but they get their home down here. And an empty bin, probably because there are so many different Snot pieces that they keep coming out with, and I can't keep up. The next tower now is getting into some clips and bar pieces. So we've got our smallest 1x1s, the different orientations there, and we start getting larger with the clips and just some different styles. And again, we've got clips going that way, clips going the opposite way, even though they look very similar, but they all have their purpose. And this one is clearly overflowing a lot. I will have to take some of these out, but these are just some of our brick clips. Now we're getting into the bar pieces, and so we've got some with bars on either side, bars on one side, and then just some, these are new, but I can see these being very useful, so I hope I get some more of those. And then just some other pieces there. These are the 2 wide, and then these are slightly different with the notches on that one versus these where they just have a clean bar. And then we get into some rounded bar pieces, 2 different styles here. And then I've actually just kind of added in some of these round elements of different sizes just for building round. And it's pretty cool, some of the pieces that I've gotten recently, so I decided to put those in there because I did have some extra space. And yeah. We're almost finished with the bar attachments now. We've got some bricks and some other fun pieces here. And now we're going to get into some other types of hinges. These are old style hinges. I'm not sure what era. These are some flag pieces, and they're plain. The decorated flag pieces are with the flags. Plain ones come in here, and the reason they are there is because we've got these ones just above, which are very similar to these. This is how my brain works. And then again, we've got some of the older style hinge pieces off to the side there. Then we get into our ratcheted hinges, which you surprisingly don't see an awful lot anymore, but you do still get them occasionally. So we've got a mixture of the female and male, and then we've got some different ones in this one section here. And basically each of these are different elements. We've got some bricks down here as well, ratcheted style, and then the rounded style off to the side. Below that, we get into even more different styles of hinges where you can really start building some interesting things. This is off, I think, the Silent Mary ship, or the Flying Dutchman, I think, because the front went up. I can't remember. One of the large pirate ships. And these are a very strong connection, which is very convenient. And then we've got some different ones here as well. Got to play around with those a bit more. We still are working on hinge pieces, so these are hinged plates and hinged bricks. Same style, just one's a brick and one's a plate. And then we've got some extra room over here, but we've got this style of hinge. Now there's different sizes, but they're all kind of mixed together because they can be interchanged. And then in the very bottom drawer here are some of the ball joint hinges. So we've got these separated out into this tray, the mixel style ball joints. We've got these larger style ball joints, which is very similar, but larger. And then we've got these other random, but fully compatible ball joint pieces in this bin. So that does it for our bar, clip, and hinge tower. Moving over, this one is a more random tower, but has some important pieces in it as well. At the very top, we've got some flex tube and different wires and stuff like that. Anything that you can basically move and really change the shape of Lego pieces when attached. Kind of put in this drawer together. We've got these plate pieces with the ridge on them. So we've got the 1x2s and then the 1x8s. There's two different styles of 1x8s. One has the bit of tile, and then one just has the notch on it. And then we've got the same sort of thing, but with the ridges. And these are all bricks that can work with these pieces. And then we've also got a couple more bricks with the same kind of ridge in them for the notches. And then we've got some bricks, angled bricks. They needed a home, so they found a spot there. And now we're getting into some of the translucent pieces. And this is one of my favorite parts of the collection because it just looks so good, all sorted. And again, we've got another escapee, but that's okay. It's always the tiles that can move from side to side. We've got the 1x1 studs, all sorted by color with some room for more colors if they come out with it. And then we've got our plates in the translucent colors, which we do have a lot of space for more colors, which is great. And we've got the warm and cool colors separated. I think there was too much to really put into one container, so I split it into two, and now we've got room to expand. We did need to expand a little bit into two drawers, and we've got the translucent cheese wedges in this container here. We've got some more translucent tiles and the square size, half round, and quarter round at the bottom there, all sorted by size and color as well. And then these are just some of the newer ones. It's a bit hard to see, but we've got some curves, we've got some curved tiles, wedge tiles, and that sort of thing in there, which I think are all fairly new. within the last year, so I don't have a lot of them yet, but knowing that they're probably going to come out with a lot more, I did want to have the space for those parts. Moving down, we've got some bigger translucent pieces. So these are bricks. We got sparkly bricks. We've got tall bricks. Got all translucent bricks in there. And then we've got translucent panels. And that's where that other panel that I saw earlier needed to go. It is in this drawer, so I'm gonna put that in after this video is done. But yeah, so all of our translucent pieces are in here. And then at the very bottom, we've got some smaller base plates. The 16 by 32, 16 by 16, and 8 by 16. And then in the very bottom, we have these large brick style bases. Some of them are very old. We don't really get these in sets anymore either. I do actually really like using these for building tall mountains and stuff. That gives me a good base that's obviously it's not very flexible like a plate would be, so it's very supportive, so I can build up tall and then support it pretty easily with that, which is great. And with that, we have finished this whole row over here. We finished all over there, and now we are coming to this last section here, which is great. There's a couple towers over there with miscellaneous stuff, but let's start over here. We've got these braid style pieces that needed a home, so they got to come over here, and we've got the sloped ones as well. Below there, we've got our turntables of different styles and sizes, some bigger ones. And then we've got these hinges as well. These are, some of them are older, and then we didn't see them for a while. And now we've got newer ones that are very similar, but still a little bit different, so that's cool. We're getting more into the Technic hinges though, as you can see, so we've got some different styles. And bigger ones, of course, that I don't have a spot for just yet. And some reverse ones, and then some bigger ones on the other side. And then more Technic pieces that can be used with all of the different pins. And then same sort of thing, all organized by size and shape. We've got the straight ones here, some macaroni style elements here, and then some newer ones in the back there as well, which is pretty cool. We got Technic plates, 2x4, 2x6, and 2x8. And we start getting into Technic bricks. Now these have the axle hole in them, so we've got the 1x1 and then 1x2s. I have separated out the grays because I use that a lot for castles that I don't have to dig through every time I want to do a castle. And then we've got these newer style bricks, 2x4 bricks with the axle hole, 3 axle holes. And so I'm not sure if that's going to be something we get a lot of, but I do have a spot for them in case I get a lot more. More Technic bricks, 1x1 and 1x2, and then 1x2 with the double hole. And then very similar, but it's got an extra plate on the back, so different than these. Needed its own spot, of course. And then we get into the other Technic pieces that I'm not totally sure all the Technic terms, but these are the half sizes, and then these are the full size or full thickness, and these are the curved ones. Very good for doing different types of movement with your builds. And if you're doing movement, you of course need gears. So we've got all the different sizes of gears, the smallest ones up to the biggest one. We got lobe gears, we got the track gears. So very, very, very cool. We got worm gears back there, and those other older style ones as well. And then these are some random Technic pieces that I don't use a whole lot, but this bin actually is probably the one I use the most. And we do have a lot of overflow of these pieces, and so I did want to sort them out so I could easily get them if I needed to, because sometimes, you know, occasionally I do use Technic in my builds, just not that common. And so most of them are in overflow, but we do have some pieces, of course, we've kept out for different purposes. And then in the very bottom here, we have all of our Technic pins. All the different sizes. This is the only one that doesn't match. We have the Technic balls in there and some other connection points, and then the largest size in the bottom there. Before I go over to the next row, I wanted to kind of get into some of the Technic, but up in this top section here, it's kind of hard to see, but this is where we keep all of our Technic pins. So we've got the smallest stud pins on the top there, and they just come down into all the different sizes. Some are friction pins and some are smooth, and then we start getting into the axles and half axle, half pin, and so you can see all the different sizes that we've got up there. We didn't really need a big space for them, so we thought we'd put them up there, and then we've got our preformed base plates up there as well. We'll come back over to the other Technic tower here. We're going to get into Technic bricks. This has a lot of different pieces in it, but they all have the brick with the pin coming out of one or more locations. So all different kinds of pieces in there, but they're all big, so they're easy enough to find. These are Technic bricks. I do believe we have some of the new 1x3s. Yes, we do. We have 1x3s in here, and then obviously 1x4s, 1x6s, and 1x8s. And then we've got 1x10 and larger in this bin. And then we got the curved ones. So many Technic pieces. Straight and curved. All kinds of different curved ones. L-shaped ones. Different colors. Super fun. Don't use these a lot. But they're there if I ever want to. We've also got some larger Technic bricks, which I use actually a lot for tall building as well. Connecting these pieces with the Technic pins and then using them as a base to build on. Very, very helpful. Sorted by size in the bags in this bin. And then the same, but just the different style of Technic connectors. And then in the very bottom here are the largest Technic pieces that we have off of different Technic sets that we don't use a whole lot, although I definitely feel like I should be looking through this bin when I'm doing different sculpting pieces now, because some of these are actually probably fairly useful for that, but I don't really know what's in this bin because I don't go through it an awful lot, so, and I prefer to not use big bulky pieces typically in my build, so that's why I don't go through here a lot, but it's here and it's kind of sorted. Next tower is actually kind of fun. This is where we keep all of our stickered and printed pieces. Most of the tower is kind of sorted out. So this top bin is completely miscellaneous. I do have some different eyes bagged up. We've got Donkey Kong in this bag here. I want to do something with all the eyes though because the eyes are cool. But this is about as random as you can get. Some are very cool though. Some of the new city sets. That's cool. Very, very random. Moving on, this is my favorites for the drawer. We've got some medieval fantasy style pieces in there. We've got wood grain pieces of all kinds in here. We've got food elements, food printed elements in here. We've got different signs in this bin of different themes, mostly medieval and fantasy by different signs. And this is just random pieces that I really like. All random themes, all pieces that I feel like could inspire me. So I've just kind of kept them here. Although I usually try to get my details from Lego bricks instead of stickers. So typically I don't use stickers a whole lot. I also got a bunch of these printed tiles from the Rivendell set. And so I'm hoping to do more Lord of the Rings, including a large Rivendell one day. So I did stock up on those. We've got a couple IP themes in here. We've got Harry Potter over here and Jurassic World over there. And then these are kind of random, but I tried to sort them out a little bit so it wasn't a total giant mess. Over here is mostly, I don't know what that's doing in there, but face and eyeballs, older stuff like this. Prints, kind of cute down there. In the middle here are our friends, mostly stickers and the different friend sets that we get. I actually do enjoy the friend sets a lot. I am not a big fan of the mini dolls, but I do like a lot of the cool colors and unique pieces that you get with the friend set. So I just kind of keep those stickers separate. And then over here I kind of was sorting out pieces that had numbers on them. So those are very random, but in case you need something with a number, I guess. And then we get into some of the printed car pieces. A lot of these are from older sets or city sets. But then we do have, look at these old police signs. Super, super cool. Starting to get discolored, but very cool. We do have some newer stuff in here as well, but just from more generic city inspired stuff. These are some of our larger random printed pieces that just didn't really fit anywhere else. So they all got smooshed into here and easy enough to go through. We do have some stickers. I did have some custom stickers made up for when I did Jurassic Park, and those are some of the extras. And then just some extra stickered parts in there, which is pretty cool. And then we've got large panel pieces, stickers. I don't think there would be any prints in the panel pieces. And then we've also got, I got all the Hogwarts books, classrooms. So those are huge. Those got put in the back there, but you can just see there is a lot of cool stuff in here. So, this was a drawer that more recently did with some of the Speed Champion stuff. I sorted that out from the other car stuff, a couple of drawers up, and then I needed a spot for the computers and screens and stuff. So those just came down here as well. So this is a newer part. We just have a couple of random drawers down here that didn't really fit anywhere else. We've got some large multi-angled curved pieces that can be useful for use in sculpting or in cars. And so we're going to be doing cars next. They all found a home here for now. And then we've got larger random plates. So they've got like these grates in them. We've got octagonal shapes. Some of these preformed ones, I think they come with the 4+ sets in different colors, different shapes. And so anything random, this one's got a hole in it, anything random that I don't really have a spot for plate-wise, put over here. And then we just have another random bin with some vehicle parts starting, roller coaster track pieces, some different engine pieces, that sort of thing. Big chunky pieces that don't really have a home of their own, they all got put into there. Now we are getting into vehicles, which is great because that's why those were right there. We've got a few pieces sorted out on top, including doors in the very back, clutches, seats, steering wheels, and the sort. We've got these fun Duramax containers here with some different car engines and exhaust pieces. These are some more engines and I guess some steering wheels of different sizes. And then this is different tubing and stuff like that. We've got similar in the bags off to the side. I'm not going to pull all of them out because you can kind of see. Very, very random. Next up, we've got these wheel covers. I'm not sure of all the technical cartoons, but those are different sizes. And then we've got similar below for smaller style cars. And then we've got these large scoops preformed. A couple different sizes. I think this was actually used as a roof piece, which is really, really cool and cool. And so yeah, all those types of pieces went in there. And then these are just kind of dump truck type pieces on the front. Then we've got some tire connections. Some of these old ones, the wheels don't come off. They're kind of set in there. So that's really cool to see some of the older style, but then you've got a couple of different newer style ways to choose from. And then we just got tires. We've got a lot of tires. So we've tried to kind of sort them out by size. It gets to be, some additional pieces in there. Oh my gosh. And then the next size up, they start to get really, really big. Some of these are really cool. These kind of large there. But there's just so many of them. And they get huge. They get ginormous. But very cool. Large tires. And then in the very bottom are all of our tank treads and caps. Got the rubberized ones and the plastic ones. We also have a bag of train tracks in there. Got the smaller treads. And then some of these wheels that the treads work with. All in this tower. Now I do have a little bit more vehicle stuff over here. This is a very miscellaneous tower, but we do have some few more preformed vehicle stuff that I will show you. So this door is kind of hard to open because I've got some stuff stacked on top that I don't want to knock off. But these are leaf covers. Some are printed, some are not. Different shapes and sizes. We've got these, I call them Z brackets. There's a couple different sizes in there. So that's cool, good for tractor trailers and stuff like that. These are the larger preformed car pieces and preformed bike pieces. I think this is a train car. But yeah, a lot of preformed stuff that I don't use a whole lot. This is all clear, kind of windscreen type pieces for cars. Some of them are very huge. Some of them are otherworldly. And some have printing on them as well. So a lot of random pieces in here. Some are very old too, which is kind of cool. But you really have to kind of go through there and be surprised at what you find, because I don't really know a lot of all the pieces that are in there anyways. Then we get some plain elements here, some huge preformed fuselages and wings, and we got some fins and stuff as well. There's like this Spider-Man helicopter piece. And here's some more. Are these for trains or for tractor trailers? See, I'm not a car person, so I'm not sure. But some of them are kind of old, and it's kind of cool to look at. But again, a lot of the preform stuff I don't use an awful lot of, so plain stuff goes in there. And then we've got some other helicopter and plane related pieces, like the blade pieces, the fan pieces of different sizes. And so yeah, it's all similar, but all kind of separated out into baggies for the different pieces. We've got some smaller preformed boat pieces. Some are very small, some are part of larger ships. Some are, once again, very old, but I will have to take these flags out, unfortunately. They were flat on top, but I guess probably they got smushed at one point. Some of the old pirate flag pieces. Very cool. That shouldn't be hard to flatten out. I've done that before. They get squished and then I flatten them out again. So some smaller boat pieces, and then down here are my larger boat pieces and more pirate flags. Don't know what I was thinking. Maybe my son was playing with them. But yeah, these are larger preformed boat pieces. So very cool. Again, don't use them a whole lot. In the very bottom here we have all of our motors and power functions. Some of them haven't even been opened yet. We get different kits with the different motors and such, and they don't all interact with each other. They're from different eras, but I do really enjoy the new Spike Prime that I learned how to use when I was on Lego Masters, so I mostly use that. But this is all of our old motors and engines and remotes and stuff like that. This last tower, I wasn't sure if I was going to show you, but I will go over it quickly, just because if I leave it, it will be very curious as to what's inside. This top drawer is a new one that I thought about putting together. This is completely random miscellaneous parts that are in the newer sets that I'm getting that don't have a home because there are so many new elements and molds coming out. I'm constantly trying to resort, which I'm not a fan of. So when I get a lot of a particular piece, then I can decide to include them into my collection. So I have 4 containers that are ready to accept parts. One's already full, the second one's got a few parts in it, and then I can kind of gauge if they're going to be a more popular element and if I want to make space for it in my collection. This next drawer down, just has my Lego Master cards. I needed a spot to store them for now. This drawer was empty, so I did put them in there. If you see me at a convention, come say hi. I always have those cards on me, and I'd be happy to give you one. This is the drawer where I keep a lot of my holiday stuff. So we've got Christmas, Easter, Halloween, all kinds of different sets that I've put together. And yes, everything in here is sets, and I kind of store them and then bring them out for the holidays. And then when I get new holiday stuff, I will kind of swap out that drawer. This is actually a drawer where I've kept a lot of the stuff that I made for Lego Masters that I kind of rebuilt or was playing around with. This is Red, as seen in episode 1. And I think Percival's kind of fallen apart a bit. Yeah, he lost his nose, but I rebuilt Percival from episode 3 over the falls, and then there's our bat boat. So I did have fun recreating some of the stuff. I did up some videos from our time on the show, which is where those builds were featured, and I just kind of kept them in the drawer for now. And then these last few drawers here have some of the old style vehicles. I think a lot of these actually came in McDonald's sets. They are official Lego though, but they were just kind of some cool things that we found. Some poly bags. Can't believe you used to get Lego when you would go to McDonald's, but yeah. And then we've got some of the old cars and stuff like that as well. So that's all in there. We've got sports in here. We've got a ton of these soccer plates. We've also got some basketball pieces as well. So NBA, some netting and stuff like that. So that all got stacked very nicely into one drawer to make it all fit. And then these last 2 drawers are the miscellaneous drawers in the collection. This is where pieces come to die and disappear and be forgotten about. This is why I actually started that drawer up top with all the new parts, because pieces would come in here and I just kind of forget about them. Sometimes some pieces I know they're in here, like these snowflakes, and other pieces I forget that they're in here and they just never get used. So this is a drawer of smaller parts. Some of them are sorted out, some are just in the bottom. So I wanted to change that just because I didn't like having pieces that I didn't know I had. And it's impossible to have a spot for every single different piece just because there are so many different pieces. I think everyone has a miscellaneous bin. This is the large version of that. But again, so we have these large NBA court sections. I think this was for a flower pot. They've also been used for hot air balloons. So we've got some of those pieces and just genuinely Lego elements. That this is the Pixar lamp, Indiana Jones ball, I think. Yeah, very rarely do I go into this drawer. It's kind of chaotic and I don't like it, so it gets stuck in the corner. But I'm hoping now that I have these bins to really put new parts in, it'll be easier to kind of look through and to resort. But that does it for this last tower over here. And we've actually managed to go all the way around the room now. We've looked at all of the different parts. I hope you have found this video helpful. I know I mentioned a couple times through the video about an overflow, and that's actually located over here. And these bins fit fairly perfectly, which is amazing. And then they're all kind of sorted by, they've got a theme. So in here we've got all of our extra curve elements. Over here we've got all of our extra tiles. Down here we're missing a bin here, but we've got overflow of all of our plates, our landscaping plates, and then we've got some other plates on the other side, and of course extra foliage. So I'm not going to open up all these drawers because it's more of the same that we just looked at. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I always enjoy looking at parts collection tours. I like seeing how other people sort their Lego. I find it very fascinating. And I'm so happy that after all these years of collecting, I have a large collection that I'm really proud to show off. And I think the way that I do my sorting makes sense to me, but I hope that it's helpful for you guys as well to maybe sort your own collection. And I think when I started back into Lego as an adult, I actually only had a medium-sized tote full of Lego, and now it's my entire basement, which is really, really cool. And when things are organized, it is just so much better. It's easier to build, it's more inspiring. So yeah, make sure you get your parts sorted if you need to. Not saying that my stuff is perfectly sorted all the time, but I do try to keep up with it. I do have a tote of things that I do need to sort, sets that I want to take apart or builds that I want to take apart and re-add to the collection so that I can build new fun things for you guys. But I'm going to wrap up this video. It is very long, of course, and thank you so much if you made it all the way through the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned because I have begun working on my newest build, which is the start of a build for Bricks in the Six coming up for this November 2026. If there's anything else you want to see in particular from this room, just let me know in the comment section below. And until next time, keep on building.